And look, I've been keeping an eye on this only because it matters for the financial situation and the certainty of the market, right? And I cannot help but show this graph where we can see how everything is coming from the fine job that we're getting from the government and the Fed Reserve. I mean, first we had the COVID shutdown. It was a forced shutdown. I'm not trying to get into whether we needed it or not, but we had a forced shutdown, which put a lot of strain in small businesses, local shops, and the middle lower class because they could not go to work. So as soon as we created the financial crisis on the lower middle class, we go ahead and print stimulus checks. So we go ahead and just start giving away free money to everybody. So much money that people actually stopped working the regular 9 to 5 jobs because they were getting more free money than they were getting working. But all of this stimulus check is something that the taxpayer is going to have to pay back. And again, because the money was given to you, the taxpayer, if you look at the data from the stock market and the profits and gains from those days, where was the profits going? Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Coach, Gucci, Amazon, Walmart. Walmart is kind of a hit or miss because they also sell grocery goods. But there was a lot of record numbers in retailers, corporations, and companies that have nothing to do with a gallon of milk and baby formula. So at the end of the day, the money that was printed, which you are stuck with the bill as a taxpayer, floated right back up to the corporations. Then we have the issue with the war in Ukraine. Tons of money was sent to Ukraine that you, the taxpayer, will have to pay. Tons of money was made by the Department of Defense and private sectors, and there was a lot of bills that were passed where no one looked into all of the pages, but there was actually money that was also being assigned and subsidized to private sectors and Department of Defense, all in the name of helping Ukraine. That leads us to inflation, which was also caused by the government overspending, which caused for the cost of goods to go up. Corporations made stupid amount of money. It was very hard in the middle and lower class because inflation only hurts the middle and lower. It actually broadens the gap of wealth. So between the top 1% and the average Joe, inflation actually creates that bigger gap. So it's not hurting them, it's hurting you. So then we have the bank bailout situation where they promised you that you weren't going to be responsible. You were not going to be left to hold the bill on this bailout because we didn't bail out the banks, we bailed out the depositors. Now, mind you, if we follow the banks that were bailed out, the banks that were bailed out were banks that were helping Silicon Valley, a lot of this startup businesses. None of these guys was your typical average Joe. However, what we did do was implement a bailout system that was going to be covered through another FDIC insurance, which was going to be passed on to the banks. But when you pass an added fee to the bank is going to have to compensate by passing that fee to you. So ultimately, you're not paying it through taxes, you're going to end up paying it through bank fees. So we not only bailed out the banks, but even some of the banks that we did bail out, like through the SVB, who actually had branches over there in China, which is, again, this is a partnership. So US and China are supposed to split the share risk of being the bank. We bailed out also their depositors. They said it was a blanket, it was only being fair, and the whole equity kind of thing, right? So then now we have signs of insider trading and oversight by auditors. Today in the news, I don't know if you saw, but they were actually beating the hell out of them for information because how do you get a clean bill of health in the same week that you fail? So what was the oversight? Where was the mistake? And how is it that they had prior knowledge to move all their money, make tons and a killing right before the whole thing crashes on your hands, where now we have to bail them out, which also creates uncertainty and it creates for you to not trust the banking system. And there's all these talks about the CBDC, which I don't want to get into because some people say it's conspiracy theory. Some people say the banking system is fine. All we know is that we are having devaluation of the US dollar and rates keep going up. We just had a rate hike of 0.25 just here in this last one. There's already talk there's going to be another one in May. Everybody's looking at the historical chart that maybe after the May we go flat. It's about the pure fact that we are hitting a perfect flow chart where every move that has been done by the government, it's almost like you're literally setting the forest on fire and then going real quick, putting your outfit on, and then going out to put out the same fire that you created. We Every move that has been done has either helped the big banks, the big corporations, but however, nothing yet has been done to help the middle and lower class. Now, in order to try to do this whole equity thing, I've also noticed that there's been some bills passed, which are already in place. For instance, in the mortgages, the higher FICO, higher qualifying buyer right now is almost being penalized so he can carry an offset so that the lower credit, lower qualifying home buyer can take that benefit. You see, because nothing is for free. If I give you something here, someone's got it. I got to take it from somebody else. I don't see that we're trying to close the gap. If anything, it seems like we're widening the gap. And I mean, the chart doesn't lie. Look at the last few things that have happened only since this administration has been in office. And I do not like to get political because I believe that I neither lean to the left or to the right. I believe what's fair is fair and what's right is right. What I can't believe is that we have had such a bad streak of luck that every single thing that we're doing is actually setting us backwards. I mean, I want to take your thoughts and opinion on this because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a realist. If it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's probably shit.